Hi, good evening. Hello, I'm Dorothy Grace I. Reyes. I am a Google Educator Group Leader of GEG Mandaluyong. I am also a Google Certified Educator for Level 1 and Level 2. Currently, I am a public school teacher at Andres Bonifacio Integrated School. I am teaching grade 12 of TVL ICT. Tonight, we will be joined by our ICITO of SDO Mandaluyong, Sir John Darrell Mercado. Hi, Sir JD. Thank you for being with us tonight. This live streaming is brought to you by Q Software Research, our Google for Education partner since 2017, in collaboration with GEG Philippines and Acer, Empowering People. This is actually our sixth day. I am one of the last presenters for this first batch. Don't worry, we will have more in the coming days. If you happen to miss out any of the webinars, please feel free to click on the link at the description box below for to rewatch and join us for reviewing the previous activities. If ever you have comments or feedback, please just type on the chat box on the side and we will try to answer them by the end of the webinar. Okay? So please feel free to say hi and while you are joining us. So right now we have 15 viewers. Hello. Thank you for joining us for tonight. So my tonight's topic is about distance learning, the best practices for public school teachers. Of course, for public school in a teacher's perspective. Um, so with that, allow me to give you first the brief background of what has happened and what is the status of public schools here in the Philippines. Well, Philippines is actually the school year is from June until March. So the class has been suspended by President Duterte last March 10, which is actually our um, few more weeks before the end of the school year. So sabi nga natin, although it is just a few more weeks, these are the most crucial time of the week because this is where exams are administered, submissions of requirements, completions, and of course the defense of our grade 12 students for the research subject. Yes, hi, hello, ayan, marami na po tayong kasama tonight. And then of course in the DepEd sector, we are actually using our or implementing the K to 12 curriculum. That means we have transitioned from a 10-year um, basic education to a 12-year education from kinder, elementary, junior high school. And then recently, we are already on our third commencement, supposedly kung may graduation, no, for our senior high school. And like I mentioned, I am a grade 12 student, grade 12 teacher. So for the past 3 years, we have been using work immersion. We have work immersion subject. It is somewhat like an on the job training, but only with the minimum number of 80 hours or 2 weeks off campus. So for 2 weeks, the students are not even required to be attending classes, formal classes. And one of the basic challenges why I tend to introduce or use the distance learning approach is because of the immersion subject. Because in our case, students are deployed by batches. So for example, may isa kang section, you cannot send all 35 students all at once to their immersion partners. We are only sending about 5 or 10 among them. And then when this first batch comes back after the 2 weeks, that is where the problem started. Kasi they left off and miss out some of the topics, and then when they come back, they have to they are at loss because they don't know where to start off and continue with their studies. So this is where Google applications or G Suite has helped us in making it possible to transition from the formal school into distance learning type of approach. Okay. Um, Google application is not new to Andres Bonifacio Integrated School or in Mandaluyong per se. Pioneered by Sir JD himself. Thank you for joining us again. It started off with him, and the most unbelievable thing happened is I got to know Google by not being invited. Medyo magulo, no? I got an invitation for students kasi. Students were invited to join the Google Summit, Student Summit. And I sent out few of my students. When they came back to school, I asked them, how was the training? How was the summit? Two striking sentences were given to me. First is, ma'am, that is something new. And the second is in a form of a question, can we have it in school? So with that kind of question, it hits me, and I ask myself, is it really possible for a public school to use a Google application, an online based approach for students? And then from that then on, I started following them and attended GAFE. They call it GAFE before, or Google application for educators. And then from that then on, we went into launching boot camps to teachers. Sabi nga natin, the only way for you to deliver or let them use it is to capacitate the teachers. So if the teacher uses it, then the class will be introduced to the applications little by little. And from that then on, we continued in learning and using it and appreciating Google application more and more. Um, Distance learning is not something that you could just shift right away. Lalo na ngayon, we are not even prepared that from the suspension of classes, naging ECQ na tayo. So, it is extended up until April 30. So, in my case, it has been a very easy transition because I have devised or used the distance learning approach intended for immersion, work immersion subject, but blessing in disguise, this happens, and my students could just jump right off and continue with that one. So basically, here are the basic applications that we have been using, and we are using these applications um, as according to our needs. So needs arises. So allow me um, to share with you this one. For me, the main the main ingredient for you to prepare a distance learning in a class is for you to have the three M's of learners. I have motivation, maturity, and mindset. I always follow these three rules. So if these three are is available for a learner, then possibly anything could be achieved. The first one is motivation. In order for you to prepare them for distance learning, always have the learner-centered approach. Meron nga tayo for depth admission, di ba? That teachers are facilitators of learners, and learners are the center of our curriculum. It is always student centered. So always tweak your objective according to their needs. So in my case, what I do is I always ask myself, what's in it for them? Every time I will offer a topic, I always ask myself, what's in it for them? And then for self-assessment, um, I have this form to be answered by students wherein this is also followed by TESDA for the NC2 for Computer System Servicing certification. wherein they would check if they can perform the following activities as we meet on their objectives. And then I just added something like, what are the challenges? What challenges? I have challenges with, and then they complete that sentence for me. Okay, and my checkpoints, ito yung pinaka, uh, I hold on to this. I always use this before the start of the school year and at the end of the school year. Apparently, I was not given a chance to do this with them before the school year ends. Parang kasing naging tradition na namin is I have the blind survey. Blind survey is where the students would cover their eyes, bow down their heads, and they're only allowed to raise their hands if I give certain questions. For example, my knowledge in technology is an advantage for me to be in this computer system servicing class. Then they will raise their hands. And then some are, I find, I need assistance when performing activities. They would raise their hands. So blindly or anonymously, they could raise their hands without being ridiculed or exposed to other classes. Kasi kapag nagtanong kayo if there are any questions, some are actually very shy to raise their hands because they know that they will be seen by other classmates. So that's where my motivation um, starts with them, creating that kind of thinking with them that you are free to express yourself, you're free to have questions and being answered, and feedback is given right now. The next one is maturity. For me, in creating the distance learning, discipline is the number one key factor. Time on task, what time do they have to reply to me, and then the realistic deadlines. Ito yung medyo crucial or critical in our sense because um, we have certain deadlines that we set for our students, but we have to be realistic with them as well. I have to quantify that I am not the only teacher that they have, but I have to have certain deadlines to meet as well. So if I wanted to have it done by this Friday, I could have announced it earlier. So preparing for it makes it easier for me and giving them a heads up a week before so that they could actually prepare um, and have a mindset for it. Okay. Time on task is crucial. Let me go back to that one. Wherein they have to submit this one. And if you weren't able to do this, then the next one will be ripple effect. So with my distance approach, when my first batch returns from an immersion subject, they have to go back to where they left off. So this is where the classroom really becomes a key factor because everything is listed there. All the references are provided. Even video links are provided. Quizzes, as soon as they came back, then I would set a schedule for them to take the quiz and they take it. And according to my research, only 58% of the students have have their internet connectivity. Sabi nga natin kanina, it is a privilege. Internet in the scope or in the eyes of a public school is a privilege more than anything else. They do not come first as their priority. But we have to supplement that. In our case, the school has provided us with internet connectivity. 58% of the students have data, and 52% of them have internet at home. But most of them, the others, they either go to a computer shop or um, get a hotspot from their classmates. Andres Bonifacio is actually fortunate to have sponsors, who have stakeholders to provide us with 10 broadbands to let the students borrow it and bring it home so that they could use it and their family could use it for 3 to 5 days and then just return it for the others to use it. So good thing we have those kind of blessings that Andres Bonifacio is receiving. But actually, kasi marami nagtatanong sa akin ng teachers eh. You could do it kasi ICT teacher ka, may internet ka. But for me, when I tried checking it out, when I transferred to a different building, there's no internet. I tried playing Kahoot. I found out may mga internet sila because they would try to go on data just to have it connected and play it. So you just have to give them a little push and for that one. Okay? And then, of course, train them to be responsible. So this is part of maturity, not only because they're grade 12, train them by giving them being a responsible student could actually be trained. I started it off with letting them that I am monitoring them. So they are aware of being monitored during our activity. We have Google Slides for their reports. For example, we have parts of the computer and it is divided according to their assigned topic in one group. But the collaboration, the feedbacking, and how they help each other out, it is there. And the teacher being part of that slide, I could give them feedback right away. I could actually mute a student who is actually just causing nuisance or his topic is off from what we wanted to achieve. So right away, the mediation is given, feedback is given, collaboration is there. Ang importante is that the students are aware that they are being monitored on their work during inside the classroom. And because of that awareness, they tend to develop to behave on that certain online approach. Kasi may mga nagsasabi, di online yan, may mga estudyanteng naglalagay ng kung ano-ano. With them being monitored, with letting them know that there is a history where I could see whatever they're doing is actually helping me in taking on the classroom discipline even in an online mode. Okay, and then of course we also have independent learning while they are in distance learning. Distance learning in Andres Bonifacio is quite different, no? Ang nangyari, my students are inside my classroom and I was the one who is remotely monitoring and facilitating them. Shout out and thanks to my school, my head teacher, Ma'am Grace Mendoza, for taking over and facilitating the physical structure of my class, and my sister, Lori Lily Joy, for sparing her only vacant period to help me in facilitating them as well. So I was online with my students, my monitor is on, and I could actually monitor their work while they're inside the classroom while I am remotely in another seminar. So, ganun yung nangyari. Si teacher yung nasa labas, si students yung nasa classroom. But still, distance learning happens. Distance learning um, um, is moving forward. Okay? Then, assigning roles. I gave in my approach for distance learning, in the thinking of the work immersion subject, I always use my project-based learning approach. This one is I will give you a certain project. You have to finish it. You have to finish this at a certain point and in time, and then at the end of that, we will be evaluating, analyzing. You will be orally telling me again on how you were able to format a flash drive, created a bootable flash drive. So that is my project-based learning for them. And even at the start of the school year, I already informed my students that we will have an advocacy. PBL would not be PBL without advocacy because our goal is to reach out the community, to answer our question for motivation. What's in it for them? It's not only for them to earn from their knowledge, but also to share it. So I was given the privilege to actually provide teachers a one-day free computer formatting. And shout out sa mga students ko, my lovely students. These are the students who actually performed formatting to teachers' computer, classmates, even the community. everything is being involved. So giving them this kind of responsibility makes them realize na, uy, kaya ko pala talaga. And I can do something from my skills and knowledge for other people. Okay? Like I said, let them mature through the process. Um, Spoon feeding is no longer our objective in this sense. And we have mindset. This is not part of my curriculum, but I always try to interject growth mindset, design thinking, flip classroom approach. Kasi nga we have um, immersion, work immersion subject. So flip classroom works best with Google Classroom, wherein all my references, all the instructions were already provided inside their classroom. They are being notified through SMS or through notifications on their phone that another homework or announcement has been given. And then all they have to do is to play it, read on it. And then once they come back to classrooms, then that's the time that we will perform. That's the time when we will be um, presenting their work. Practical tests are scheduled. So, eto na yon. So, with them, nakakatuwa itong mga batang to eh. Letting them feel that they're matured enough and having the growth mindset, I will give them the problem like, okay, who wants to go first for the practical test? Somebody would volunteer, and then I would ask, how about the others who would like to be the timekeeper to check on their schedules, on their speed? And then automatically they will just be pairing, volunteering, and then nakakatuwa that you don't even have to stress out in asking them, please lang mag-pair na kayo. There's no such thing in this class. I don't know if I only have been blessed with perfect or very responsible students, but they are, and I appreciate them the most for being that kind of students. Having all these three, as I mentioned, we use all three, all of these applications, and hopefully more applications to be introduced next year. Lalo na I have been attending the webinar. So guys, please, if you happen to want to learn more of the applications, please stay tuned for next week for the add-ons and then the previous webinars. I have learning a lot from them. So like I said, they are at the description box below. So please click and follow the following links. Ang dami ko natutunan actually. Okay, allow me to share, ganito na lang. Allow me to share how each application has been part of Andres Bonifacio's approach in learning, in not only in learning but also in governance. For example, we have been utilizing Google Forms for quizzes, summative tests, periodic exams, ngayon periodic exam. And then survey for CIP, survey for their research. I actually asked my students, sino sa inyo yung gumamit ng Google Forms to eliminate the use of paper and the assessment on or reviewing the responses. So three groups have been informing me na, ma'am, ginamit namin yan sa research subject namin and it really helps us in um, getting all the responses summarized. And then event registration. Mga estudyante ko sanay dyan that there are event registrations. Before there is this QR that could be extracted from goo.gl. I miss that. The QR code wherein the students will just be capturing the QR code and then getting registered right away. So, yan yung mga mostly ginagamit namin. Even my presentations, no need to capture the slides one by one, but instead, they just capture the QR code and then they get my whole presentation. So, may mga ganon kaming ginagamit sa classroom. Even their attendance are taken through QR codes. So, they will just trace their QRs provided by one of them, by each of them. Then I'll just scan it and then the attendance is already taken. So, mga ganon. And then, online early registration and enrollment. We have been doing this for incoming senior high school students. We have this program wherein we invite students to continue their studies here in Andres Bonifacio. They will just go online registration and then they are enrolled automatically through our system. So hopefully this coming school year, I have I have partnered with Sir Christian Javier, the senior high school focal person. I help him in preparing for the online enrollment of the senior high school. We have also been using forms for feedback, Kwame. Yan. For every seminar that we do, we just share the link and then teachers and students would just give us their feedback through the use of that one. PPST for teacher self-assessment, we call it SAT. Teachers are also responding through the use of Google Forms. And of course, we are already on our 3 years. This is one of the pride of Andres Bonifacio, the online election. On its third year, this became division-wide na. So we have conducted online election. This is very synchronous. In the first year, we only have the election online. On the next year, we have the live partial result being seen by the voters, the students themselves na, ganun kabilis. Meron tayong live feedback kung sino na yung leading, sino na yung winner, possible winner for the election. So this has been one of the pride of Andres Bonifacio. How systematic the students, how responsible they are in performing the elections. Yan. Thank you nga pala sa mga SSG officers and their advisor. Okay, the next one we have is Google Slides. Ito nga yung ginagamit namin for collaborative reports during the time when we are starting. No? They would just put in their work, they would advance on it, and then files are saved directly to the Google Drive. So kung inabot na kami ng time, all they have to do is to continue it at home, to continue it at the computer shop. Their work is synchronized and the collaboration works well with each other. So yun yun. And then if there are questions, feedback is already given and they resolve it themselves. Yun yung nakakatuwa. Minsan hindi ko na kailangan sumagot. All they have to do is give me their sila na rin mismo yung nagre-resolve ng problem. And then yun nga, so part of the monitoring is you let them know that there is a history that you could view, or sometimes may na-delete sila, they wanted to retrieve it. So they use the history in that kind. And then of course, the ask feature for the slides, at any time that there is a question, an ask question will be popped. So we could settle it at the end of the presentation, of the end of the work of the students, and then sometimes feedback and clinical responses is given to each of the reporters as well. Um, in terms of Google Sheets, ito yung pinaka na-appreciate naman ng teachers. For the students' approach, ito yung ginamit nila in interpreting their questionnaires through the survey from Google Forms. They interpret the responses from the Google Sheets, and then of course their attendance is also recorded through Google Sheets. And then the grading sheet for teachers. This is one of the biggest features that we could use in the distance learning, is when the teacher is finished, she could just simply share her slide to her colleagues. Of course, meron can view lang, syempre, para hindi naman na-edit yung grades na nagawa natin. No? But it is easier and clearer for us to read kasi kung screen capture mo lang tapos sinend mo, minsan the pictures tend to pixelize. But if you share the link for view, then it would be easier for us to see their grades and analyze. Ito yung maganda eh. I could hear from teachers na, ma'am, si ganito hindi pa nagre-respond, baka po pwedeng pag-submitin nyo, let me know so I could change their grades. So yung mga ganitong approach, the teachers and the advisors are working hand in hand. Ang napansin ko lang for distance learning, is, lalo na at ganito yung sitwasyon namin that we are from, our students are from the poverty line, is that you have to adjust to what they could give you. Be realistic on your demands. So, if they are only awake at night kasi nag-aalaga ng kapatid, may ginagawa sa bahay during the morning, si teacher mag-a-adjust na lang din. So, sometimes we meet them at night. Ang mga teenagers kasi mas gising sa gabi yan. These are nocturnal students eh. So, si teacher mag-a-adjust na lang din for us to meet halfway. And then, mas nakakapag-respond pa lang bata if you let them know na anak, ganito yung grades mo. O tingnan mo, kapag ginawa kong ganito, kapag nag-submit ka ng ganyan, they could see at the end. Automatic, it is solved in their eyes, di ba? Right before their eyes. Ay, kapag pala nag-submit ako, papasa ako. Sige ma'am, magsasubmit ako tomorrow. So, yun yung mga ganong approach. Nag one by one kami. O, eto si ganito, anak, ito yung kulang mo. And then, kapag nag-submit ka, sabihin natin, kung ganito makukuha mo, ito na yung grade mo. That is when we get to collect their responses. That's when we get their completion requirements. Kasi kung hindi mo gagawin yun, at sabi mo, bala ka ba, bagsak ka, walang mangyayari. But if you show them how they are being graded, how it is being analyzed, then mas madali, mas magandang nakikitang ganun. And then of course, for docs, we have research paper. Yan ang number one nila. They could edit it on their mobile phones. They can edit it on their computers. Sometimes they even ask me, Ma'am, tapos ko na yung module ko for your subject. Can I continue with our research dito sa computer lab? If there's still time, I would allow them and use the computers as well. Then, yun nga, in my subject, I ask my students to have individual modules authored by themselves. Kasi yung subject ko is how to format a computer, what are the parts of the computer, how to create an Ethernet cable for internet. So, para magawa nila yon, they have to create their own module wherein sila mismo yung makakaintindi. Because if I would give them references, sometimes the English is too much complicated for them. So what they do, sila yung gagawa in their own words on how they understand the following options, then they explain it to themselves. But at the end of the school year, or even in the future, if they forget the steps, they could just go back into it and then review their work. It's their work, it's their language, they could understand it themselves. Easy as that. Okay, and then of course, comments and feedback, right away, doon ko na feedback, doon ko na rin gegradean yung gawa ng estudyante sa Google Classroom through the use of their work from Google Docs, then mas madali for us to do that. And then like I said, Google Classroom is my mothership. Siya talaga yung pinaka nag-develop or nagbuo ng pinaka distance learning para sa akin at sa aking mga estudyante. Because all the references has been given right there. The announcements that there are there, submissions, then yun yung paborito nila, yung auto backup. Ma'am, hindi ko natapos dito. Di bale, nasa drive naman. Or, ma'am, nasira yung laptop ko or computer ko sa desk. Lilipat lang siya sa another computer. Then they could just start from where they left off. Mabilis, synchronize and everything. And with the documentation that we do, they take pictures for cabling, ganyan. RJ45, magkakable sila. They have to take a picture of it in a white sheet paper with their watermarks para walang magre-recycle ng gawa. It's your individual work. Even if I do not monitor you, I could see your watermarks there, then you document it by yourselves as well. So, nakasynchronize si camera, si gallery, nakasynchronize kay Google Photos, then automatically yan, they could insert it in their documents and then submit it, turn it into their Google Classroom. Everything works hand in hand. Although yun nga lang yung request nila sa akin. Ma'am, very limited kapag Gmail account lang yung gamit namin. How can we make it possible na lumaki yung storage space namin. So, in this manner, maybe this is one thing that we could help them with. Sabi ko nga, di ba, in the start of my presentation, there's a certain question. Can we have it in our school? Yan yung laging tanong sa akin. Even other teachers, from other schools. So, yes, it is possible. You could just simply email us at education@qsr.com.ph for us to help you with that one. And now we are down for our questions. Sir JD, can you help me with the following? Are there any questions po ba?
Yes, there are questions. Um, question number one from Ma'am Gertrude Corpus. In your distance learning scheme, do you combine it with blended instruction?
In your distance learning scheme, do you combine it with blended instruction? Yes. Um, Sabi nga natin, if it works for, depende kasi on how you could give it to the students eh. How you develop, how you prepare them for distance learning. Um, if they have to know kung paano yung gagawin and how to collaborate with it, um, flip classroom towards PBL, and then working hand in hand. Kapag kasi you manage to do it in the classroom, it is easier for us to do it kapag nasa remote na or distance learning na or online classes. Anything
Okay.
else?
Itong kay Sir Robert Galindez, like the multi-grade scheme, is it possible for a class of students on a face-to-face instruction and on the distance learning too? I think what he wants to know is it possible to have a multi-grade scheme in an online distance learning? Yung possible ba na
We
there are multiple grade levels in an online class?
Meron kami before ni-launch with Sir JD and Ma'am Balbuena. We actually launched virtuals in the division of Mandaluyong. Virtuals is an ALS learning activity. It is an online approach of distance learning approach for ALS students. So we created materials for ALS students, and then meron pa kami yung ano eh, first ped, may nagsa-sign language sa gilid habang si teacher naman nagtuturo ng lesson. So when we talk about ALS, these are multi-grade level that they could attend. Siguro by topic lang siguro yung pipiliin nila. Like what we have in DepEd Commons right now. So yun din yung ginagamit natin for our students. Although that one naman, by grade level naman siya naka-separate.
All right. So from Rona Dichoso, is online education as effective as face-to-face instruction? I think this will solicit you more of an opinion rather than um
Mm.
uh, uh
Um, in the Philippines, mas sanay tayo ng face-to-face. Kasi we give our discipline face-to-face, di ba? Pero the way you try to, sabi ko nga, distance learning is not an instant shift. Hindi mo pwedeng gawin yan ganun agad. So, we are in the confines of our own classroom, ako tsaka yung mga estudyante ko, ang approach namin distance learning. If you have question, ask it inside the Google Classroom. Comment it in the Google Classroom rather than directly so we could answer it as well. Although there are certain questions na, syempre, teacher ka, hindi mo maiwasang sagutin ng face-to-face. But having them practice that help us in continuing learning, having lessons through online classes as well. Ano lang siguro, practice. Of course, there are certain students na kapag sinabi mong mag-submit ng ganito, or you can, ako in my end, hindi ako pwede nung hangouts where kakaroon kami ng calls my students kasi in my case, hindi ganon ang audience ko. Not everyone has the privilege of having an internet connection in their houses. So, yun, mag-adjust ka talaga. So, no calls lang kami. But instead, it's a one-on-one. Instead of face, it's a one-on-one follow-up, one-on-one instruction na lang din. But in terms of effectivity, kung if you're given a bigger bandwidth or higher speed in internet, I think it could work. Yun lang talaga,
All right.
preparation.
I think this is the last question. Will the student who's not gifted enough with the complexity of online learning can easily adopt? So, what can you say about students who are not fast enough to learn online distance learning tools?
Hi Marvin. He's actually one of my students before. Marvin de los Reyes, one of my top classes yan. Hi, hello. Um, Given this not gifted can easily adopt. Yung tradition kasi ngayon natin, no, in our sense ngayon, hindi na option na mag-traditional tayo eh because of the ECQ. So, mas maganda nga ngayon na nakikita yung importance ng distance learning it's a blessing in disguise na ang Pilipinas nagiging aware na uy pwede palang ituloy yung klase even na we are not having it in a formal na face-to-face classes. So yun, anything else? May tanong pa po ba tayo? Maraming salamat po sa mga sumama. Yan, mga co-teachers ko karamihan. Hi Nancy, may mga students ako nandyan.
All right. So I think those are the questions na Ma'am Dorothy.
Ayun, thank you very much Sir JD for joining us and hopefully, lalo na I'm very much excited for the next week na darating because these are add-ons. These are something that you could take away, mga teachers. I'm inviting you to. So please join us and be with us in the coming days kasi wala man certificate but this is something that you could get and could help us in improving our teaching career in the future. Yun lamang po. Sir JD, thank you very much po for inspiring us all teachers na to do it better. Okay, I think that's it for now. Again, if you wanted to review or catch up with the previous webinars, the details are in the link below. So I'm excited to see you again next week. Thank you very much. That's it for now. Good night. Bye.